you have like this announcement. We're not going to drink your beers today. We're going to drink some Grolsch.
Oh yeah, but it happens to be probably my favorite beer.
And good portion of people didn't know, but our Pilsner is actually just Grolsch that we buy in bulk.
Okay.
And we can it in another can, but it's a deal we have with Sam Miller.
Nice.
So we kind of trick the microbrewery in Quebec with macro under the carpet.
So you're just basically disguising macros at your beers. Oh, awesome. All right, well, let's drink some Grolsch, gentlemen. A toast. Cheers. Delicious.
Oh yeah.
It's clean. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And even a little taste of, I don't know.
Just as good as usual.
Yeah. I mean, plus just supporting outside Dutch. Why support Quebec? There's no real point, right?
Yeah, they have me making beers for so much longer than craft beer. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside. Today we are in the Montérégie region of Quebec, specifically in Acton Vale, and joining me today is Mattias and Christian from Artisans Brasseurs Bob Magnale, or Bob Magnale Artisanal Breweries.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you very much for taking time in your schedule to speak with us about your brewery today, and I look forward to trying your amazing lineup of beers from what I can see. So what am I starting with here?
So it's our Pilsner, Czech-inspired with sauce, and Czech yeast, called Valoise, which is the kind of nickname for people from Acton Vale.
Okay. Beautiful nose. All right, gentlemen, as we do on the show, a toast.
It goes cold here.
Yeah. Very tasty.
It's a little bit better than the Grolsch, eh? There's a little thing.
Yeah, very solid. Not like overpowering bitterness behind the Pilsner anyway. It's nice and crisp. Like to me, for myself, this is more of a summer beer. But obviously, you could drink it all year. You could drink
all
any
year-round beer to me. So
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, our first batch, it's sold out in no time. Middle of winter, it came out just before Christmas.
Yeah, it came out like mid-December, and we stopped selling it except from here, like mid-January. So it actually went really better than we expect on that. So we had to fill 2 fermenter to keep going. So
yeah, I mean, you do have quite the setup here, and obviously, being more outside Montreal, you can have more room to have your brew house,
for way lesser price. And that's one of the reasons we choose to look in the region more.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So what's the beer story? What brought you guys together, your love of craft beer and creating Bob Magnale?
We met at the bar, of course, over Untappd,
over Untappd, actually.
Cool.
And started talking about beer, and I found out that he was homebrewing. And I just started doing some batch with a friend, but I wanted to learn more and was really new at it. So, he invited me over for his next batch. And,
which we brew IPA and we brew an IPA
and a bitter.
And a bitter. And we were in the MontreAlers, the brewing club at the time. Mm-hmm. And it was the 2 first beer that we sent in competition, the beer that we brewed together, and we got a silver and a bronze medal, I think, or gold. I don't know, silver and bronze. I think.
Something.
So then I guess we meant to brew together. Let's keep going, and then it keep going, more contests. I guess we really enjoy making the homebrew competition because you get really good feedback. It's not only just your family and friends say, you have really good beer. No, you need to have the judge telling you that, this thing sucks. Sometimes you need it.
Yeah, because it's like family and friends are great that they're drinking your beer, but also in their hearts, I have to say they're good even if they're not good.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then obviously they're not all really like beer connoisseurs. They don't know all the stuff. Sometimes the subtlety you need to get. So we run the beer competition maybe for 3 years, maybe around that. That's where Bob Magnale came from, actually, because we were sending beer on our both name.
Okay.
And then we kind of place higher in the ranking, say, yeah, you know what, we brew together. Let's just bring all the beer under one name. Then which name? So okay, it's going to be Bob Magnale for multiple reasons. But and then we score better. We made better score. We won competition in Quebec at La Barberie, where the winner got the recipe brew on the larger scale, which went super well. Was the Ghost Bob Magnale. So at the time, since when we start pro, Bob Magnale was kind of already known, so we kept the name and we go with that.
In MontreAlers, when you were part of it, was still Tico in charge, or was it?
At the beginning was Tico, and
yeah.
then Drew came back. Drew took it.
Or actually, I think we were even there before Tico became.
Yeah, I think it was before Tico.
Yeah.
I was, what's his name, the translator, the saxophone, I don't know, I guess.
No, it's crazy where like meeting all of you guys, you know, speaking with Tico, speaking with Drew, and it's like, yeah, the MontreAlers, that's where we kind of like, homebrewers come in and it's like, yeah, you should be brewing this on a big scale and getting this out to people. And it seems very supportive.
But it's actually, there's actually Avant-Garde, the guy we're from, they were MontreAlers as well. Who was there? I had another one in mind, but just forget it.
Shelton?
Shelton.
Okay.
But we did others too. Labac was around back
Labac.
then, and another, I guess we can say it by now since it seems to have died down, Ex de Mille, which was a little bit more underground, but basically was a competition, but also just a big party where people showed up at someone's house with tents and.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was a really nice party. We went there 3 years in a row.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I've always been kind of support local. It's when the pandemic started, people were like, oh, I'm not buying things from overseas anymore. I'm like, I haven't been buying beers from overseas in ages. I've got you all beat already. So it's
I'm brewing my home. So it's
it's outside of home brewing. You know, I support local. I go to.
But that's one thing. Let's say there's something that we don't really embrace right now because of a bunch of things. But all the grain, let's say our favorite grain, pretty much come from Europe.
Yeah.
So at one point, is it like as local as? So the transformation obviously is made here. We need to rely on stuff around the world as well. Yeah. If you want to make the top, it's one of the things. When you're a brewer, you don't have any limit. If you want to do the best thing and everything you want, you don't have to put yourself any limits. So just have access to all the ingredients you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look how much people are placing orders years ahead at Yakima Chief.
Yeah,
for their hops. It's
but
crazy.
Actually, if you want to do any Ipa, good luck with Quebec hops.
Yeah.
I guess some did it, and but is it top of the shelf? It's a discussion we can have, but.
I am noticing more hop farms are opening in Canada, so it's
but they still like it's a thing of copyright and stuff that Citra will always be.
The breeds and the climate and
exactly,
and they are not the same experience. So, but for sure we're willing to try that.
Exactly. But it could be different. At one point, they're going to develop something like to work here. It's like vineyard or stuff like that. We're not in France, but we still have good vineyard as well. So. It's just a different product. You have to think of that as a different product.
So creating Bob Magnale, picking the location, bringing the brewing equipment, any kind of roadblocks or problems, getting your brand out there?
How much time you have?
Yeah,
sure
the guys at Brew Revolution said it'd be easier to tell you the problems we didn't have. Yeah. So.
No, but it's not a matter of having a problem, but starting a company, starting a business, it's always like a bunch of stuff. Coming in the way that you didn't really plan, or even if you plan it and you didn't plan it exactly how it happened. But we were quite lucky, except for like the price of wood that was skyrocket when we started.
And we got hit not as bad as some, but with the shipping from we bought the equipment from China. In hindsight, maybe we should have considered something local since. Yes. With the increased shipping costs that went crazy just as it was about to ship, it was something unexpected.
And the availability of stuff too, like seems stupid, but for the cold chamber, the panel, we wait like close to 6 months for the panel of the cold chamber because they didn't have the stuff for everything. I guess it was just a little thing like that seems to, but the city and the MRC being really helpful on a lot of, let's say, stuff that would be out of our hand usually, like the regulation and stuff like that. They're really helpful on that. So this part, at least we have good experience with it.
Yeah. Was Acton Vale very open to having you guys here? Were they like,
Yeah, for sure.
I guess since because there was actually here it's our second project kind of in Acton Vale. The first project that we proposed kind of didn't work, but even at the time the city was quite, I wouldn't say excited, but were really into, okay, yeah, you guys coming in and get us a brewery, and I guess it's kind of in the way right now to have a brewery. Every city kind of, yeah, we don't have a brewery, we need one. It's like it's in the line of checking. We have a brewery now, check. But yeah, we were really welcome, and they're quite supportive when.
It's always nice to hear that. You know, as we mentioned Tico earlier, is Verdun didn't have a bar or a brewery for 100 years.
Yep.
And now it's like there's a brewery, but here's all these rules. And when I first started my craft beer journey, I would have to. The closest place I could go was from where my location was Saint-Amboise, which is between micro and macro, but it's still.
Well, it's still a micro in numbers. The philosophy behind it might be a little bit more macro, but
And their terrace, I mean, wow,
great.
It's sit back there on the canal, have a beer. You know, it's always nice. And then during fall, it's drink those pumpkin ales, pumpkin ale, and to me, it's one of my favorite. I've had so many, but it's the availability, and like the availability of beer stores in Quebec now, seeing your product on shelves is always good too. Is that outside the Acton ales, which we mentioned pre-show, I tried your Bourbonade, your Mrs. Thatcher, so I was lucky enough to actually try your beers before speaking with you guys today, and I knew like that you're on the list. I have to speak with you guys. You make great beers, at least the two I've had. So, and then this as well. So that's three, and who knows what else we'll try during the show.
We'll try to impress you. Mm-hmm. But when we start, actually, I was brewing at Krunen at the time, in 2017. So we had the chance to start having beer on shelf since then. So when we start here already, we didn't start from scratch. We already had like some sort of merchandising going around. The distribution, same thing. So I guess it's a good thing, I guess, to have when you start. It's something that you don't really have to start from scratch. It already have some sort of going.
Yeah. So. It was a great help too for just getting to know what we wanted, since we already brewed on equipment quite a few times. Yeah. It was way easier to make.
We tried a couple brewery before
of the equipment.
Oh, that's unfortunately one of the losses of the pandemic. You mentioned Cruden. They have shut down, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, which sucks because I like the creativity that they had of the whole Transylvania like vibes of brewing, but we haven't. I don't think we've lost a lot in Quebec.
It's not all that many that shut down.
No, I guess it's not even in brewpub or. Because I think the law changing where brewpub could sell, maybe save a couple, probably at least help a lot, a couple of them. But as a industrial brewery distributing, it wasn't as bad journey as other industries. We were still able to sell to client, and we're essential service. So.
Able to be open, at least in some format.
I mean, I know it sounds silly. Like people are like, "How is alcohol an essential service?" I'm like, well, if you cut off an alcoholic, you're going to kill them.
Yeah, just stop selling alcohol and wait for a week. Yeah. Brace yourself and look and watch.
So, especially with everything that's going on, maybe somebody wants to sit back and enjoy a beer or a glass of wine or a cider. It's
ready for a second round?
Yeah, let's. What's beer number 2 we're going to be trying here?
Let's go Gustav Vasa.
Gustav Vasa is our New England IPA. I guess we are maybe a bit on the drier and should I call it less juicier.
Thank you.
In the texture.
Okay.
Kind of to have a good drinkability still.
Yeah, it's got that wonderful New England nose I like. Awesome. A toast.
It's a toast. Yeah, we pulled out this batch is from last week. We came out with for the Vasa Up at cross-country skiing race.
Yeah, so all our hoppy beers, like they over here, that they have the little figurine there,
Okay,
which so they're all kind of a Swedish royalty. So the name is from a Swedish royalty. The other one is Carl Dus and Ulrika Eleonora, and so they look the same, just different color. And then we have also the motto from the specific royalty in Swedish, and pretty much all of the mottos speak about God or something like that. But we took that, but we modified it to replace God with hops instead. So this one is all makt är av humle, which roughly means all the power comes from hops.
Oh, cool.
And it used to be all the power comes from God before.
I mean, you got quite the variety when it comes to labeling and names. Who comes up? Obviously, I'm guessing as a team, but who does the designs? Who comes up with everything?
So the design is called Nick Fortin. I used to work at Ubisoft before starting this, so he was a co-worker there. So he's doing the design on as a side gig.
Yeah.
We usually sit and have like a chat, the three of us, see where it goes. But more and more he knows us. So for sure, like for Bourbonade, which was the first label we did back then, was a bit more work, more talking involved. The first couple, like Thatcher, Pozapa as well. But at one point, we create board, we throw stuff. We know where we think of going, and he's quite good at getting the job done pretty much where we want it.
And he's quick too. Usually we have kind of a concept, and he shows us some initial the direction to go. But then after he usually have at least 5 variation with the colors and a few elements placed differently, and then we can say we kind of like this element there and that element from this other variation, and we come up with something from there.
Okay, we noticed at one point on the label lately that if you put them all aside on a shelf, it doesn't make any sense together pretty much, except of all the yellow or the orange band. It's just so we kind of turn it into families of design. So we have, like, if we start on your side, the Acton Vale, which are mostly local stuff here. Basic blonde, red ale, blanche, and there's a black, there's a stout coming. So these are, they're gonna have their own stuff. Then the hoppy stuff have a kind of design where color and, like Mattias was saying, the little figurine or on it. Obviously the sour stuff where it's more exploding, a bit going everywhere and being a bit more freestyle on that part, and Valoise, but we have new stuff coming. We have a Vienna lager coming, but it's going to be more classical look. So you look at kind of Valoise, you can pretty much put it through macro. If for people that doesn't know, it's just, you look at it, probably it's going to taste the same thing as the can that looks pretty much like this. So that's what we try to achieve. So we want to go in that direction with that series with more classical look. But we like to play with the design as well. It's a nice thing, and we have so many stuff going that we just can't focus on one style. Like some brewery, which they do pretty well. It's nice when everything look alike.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard for us to get that discipline.
I mean, from the sound of it, your Acton Ale or your gateway beers, it's,
Yeah.
Jean from down the street is like, no, Coors or Budweiser, and it's like, how about you try
But
try our Valois? How about
it's
you try
the price point as well too. So we did the beer where price point is really closer than if you go to the corner store. We can be just beside a can of Coors or Budweiser or of Grolsch, and being like really in the same kind of price for the format, and that's we want to put in the guy's head, you know what, I can try this one, and every can as an incentive as well. We give 25 cents per can sold to our organism in the MRC, So I guess you drink, but you make a good gesture at the same time. So and then obviously we don't want them to stick on cheap beer. So that's where Valoise, where the Vienna lager come from. It's just like a step up. Because taste this. It's in the same kind of family, but it's just like better. If you take every client is gonna. People are curious. So if you take them by the hand and you explain your stuff, most of the time they can they're curious and they're gonna taste it and enjoy it.
Plus, it is, I know I'm a broken record, but it is support local, like buy local as much as you can. Especially with the Montérégie region is, come here and then maybe some friends down the street, which will be next week's interview. We're at Perspective. And then there's other breweries in the area that I'm honestly not overly familiar with the Montérégie. There does seem to be brewery opening here.
But we are at the really end. We actually like the gate of the eastern gate. But you see, that's the thing. When we build the place here, it was important to hire all people locally. I had a construction background. I could have called friends from Montreal, say, okay, maybe I had cheaper price, maybe I had stuff quickly happen. But if I'm going to tell them to drink local for like the next 10, 15 years, 20 years, who knows, and I'm coming with people from out of town, it's stupid. Yeah. So we try to, as much as possible, kind of follow that spirit. We hire people from all around. All the merch is done locally here at a place where we're super lucky to have that here as well. So it's support your community, your close community, and it's gonna help everybody grow and make.
And they return the favor to many of the contractors that was working here, that they are some of our best customers coming back to buy our beer after. So.
Yeah, we made the beer for our electrician for last Christmas. He said instead of giving a Christmas card and make something that makes no sense, it was just giving cans of beer with its all logo on it and message.
I would be very happy with.
Well, you know what? You're more happy at Christmas card. You just say, that's fine. A can of beer.
Yeah. I know with like you guys mentioned Untappd, which is funny, is like there's the Untappd challenge, which is like drink a beer 7 days in a row. And I'm like, I can do that, no problem. It's just one beer. It's not like I'm going home drinking 6
to get
New
the
England
badge.
IPAs.
You know what? I'm pretty sure I don't have that badge.
Yeah. I've heard Untappd is quite the. It's such a like dichotomy of like, because you obviously have your social media trolls who will be like, it's too bitter for me, 0.25. It's like, but you don't like any bitter beer, so stop rating beers like that.
Yeah, I know. It's a funny place, Untappd.
Yeah. I'm super fair. I've had a beer before, and Troy from La Brosse in our first ever interview mentioned, he's like, something went wrong with my canning. And Untappd actually helped him bring the beer back because it was a bad canning process.
No, so yeah. If you don't, it's something you have to have the feedback, especially like when in pandemic, everybody had a tap room that was closed.
Yeah.
You just and a lot of them just start canning at the time. They start working with canning line, mobile canning line, but you never know if something goes wrong. You don't have your tap room anymore. You don't have your clientele, so it's a way of getting in touch to see if things goes like you like. But still, if your Pilsner score 2.5, you say it's golden.
It's as simple as there's a little extra oxygen in the line when it's getting poured into the cans. Now there's always going to be your negative Nancy's, as I like to call them, who are always going to crap on whatever beers that they want to. It's just, to me, be fair. If you don't like the style, don't constantly give it a low rating. Just don't drink it.
Exactly.
Whereas,
or just, you know what? Don't rate.
Yeah.
That's what we do. I don't rate. I checked it in, but okay, you don't need to rate. It doesn't imply anything. It just, if it's good, if I have a comment, I'll write a comment. Yeah. But I don't put a note. I'm not gonna influence the thing.
That's why I'm a bigger fan of the Instagram community when it comes to beer drinkers, is that they're passionate and then they speak about it, and that's where we're also trying to come in, is get you guys out there to people in Montreal who have maybe never seen you guys. And then one of our local friends sees the video and he's like, I've never tried, which we'll try next from the look of it, is the Mrs. Thatcher. nobody would ever think of drinking a margarita sour, whereas I want to try this because it sounds great. So.
Why not? It's one thing that at one point we were like Bourbonade comes from the same thing as well. It's like drinks. We kind of mimic drinks in beer. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the vision of it. It's like but now, for sure, when we pulled these out, the beginning there was no. I wasn't really tight on the spore. There was no like prêt à boire, or wasn't that popular. So we were pretty much doing drinks in a can, but with beer. For sure now, okay, it might not be as relevant. But,
a toast. Yeah, see, it's not like crazy sour. You barely get the
no, exactly.
The
like we kind of have like, I would say three level, but three sort of sour. We have a Pazapa and Kiwi Liner, which are like, I would say, our entry level sour. Decent sourness, but with like you had the kiwi kiwi kind of bring a lot of people. They look at it, say, okay, I want to taste it, I want to try this. I don't know, for no reason, kiwi kind of really appeal people. And Pazapa, I get with the honey, the hibiscus, and the gadel, bring like that soften everything, and have that little rocket candy taste. It's really nice. Then we step with Bourbonade and Thatcher, which both touch wood. So that's pretty much, it's still like an easy drinking sour, but we bring like the wood on top of it just to get a bit more complexity. And then you have the bottle, which are mixed fermentation. I used to say, like, if you never drink sour, don't really start with that. You might be surprised. But on the other hand, we have a guy that was drinking only Budweiser and was here at the opening of the brewery. And the week after, he was buying cases of those and said, "Yeah, I'm just drinking that now." So I don't know what happened between Budweiser and
usually not the case. If someone is not used to sour beer, they're gonna think this is very sour. But for us that drink sour beer more often, it's pretty light sour.
So, something like this, like you mentioned, to me, the Budweiser drinkers, this awakens their palate, and they're like, "Oh my God, I can enjoy good beer."
Yeah, it brightens up everything. Yeah. I guess that's what I like, and I tend to like to do that especially in saison, to bring a little bit of acidity just to brighten up the whole thing in mouth. So when you're drinking, it's not heavy. It's just like it's exploding, and it helps all the flavor in it as well. So it's a little bit of acidity sometimes, just make everything better.
I mean, because Quebec, in my eyes, has come so far because, we're so European inspired in Quebec that it was just Belgians for ages, and now all of a sudden it's sours, New England's, and this, and just Quebec in the last 5 years, the beer scene is just getting better and better and better, and I look forward every day to guys like you, guys down the street, creating more beers, coming out with new stuff. Who knows, maybe a new style will be created in Quebec that the rest of the world's going to use at some point, like coming out of New England, obviously Vermont.
Exactly, the hazy kind of IPAs. But I don't know. I don't know which kind of which style. The thing is, we're so much everywhere. Mm-hmm. All the brewery. It's going to be really hard to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
But I read, I don't know, I think it's Philip Wooter at one point did an article on it. That's, what if the red ale was the Quebec style? Mm-hmm. And designing the Acton Vale red was pretty much what we had in mind. Said, you know what? It's not going to be an Irish red ale. It's not going to be like a bitter. It's not going to be like American red ale. It's not. Let's just throw what people likes here in a red ale beer. So they want a bit of caramel. They want a bit of bitterness. And it turned out to be something that's nothing of everything, but it works. So it maybe is this, and it's the only place, I guess, on the planet where Rousse exists.
Yeah.
It's a freaking color. But here we drink Rousse, and you know what? Maybe that's the style. And everybody in Quebec kind of make a Rousse. They all make it different, but we're still the only place that do Rousse.
I mean, you guys mentioned you homebrewed as well to start. That first ever homebrew, did it come out like this is what we wanted, or this has to go down the drain?
But personally, actually the friend that I start homebrew, that I cut my first barrel to make a pot, was here yesterday, and we were talking about it. I guess the first 3 homebrew, because I didn't want to follow any recipe anytime in my life. So it's just like, I was just creating stuff, but without knowing anything. So it was quite bad. I ended up drinking it, I guess, but it was quite bad. And I was burning everything. For sure, every brew session, I was burning something down. It was just catastrophic. But then when we start, when
we did at your place, it was your equipment, so you were kind of used to it. But around the same time, shortly after, I bought my own equipment, so I could brew at my place too. And for sure, the first one there was not very good, since I started with brew in a bag.
Well, you have to learn there's a curving line with your equipment as well.
Yeah.
When you start with something new, we were, again, no wood in the production area, but we brew Acton Vale as a test batch where you know what, if it's not good, it's going to be in drain. It's first run on the system. And as we were brewing it was just like, wow, that freaking system is awesome. It's just like everything works perfectly, and it end up being the beer that we can. But for sure, if you have usually a new system, there's always something that's going to go wrong.
Yeah. So another question I kind of like to ask is, somebody comes here and buys a bunch of your beer. What are some friends in the area that you tell them to go as well, buy beer and drink there as well?
Well, for sure, Perspective.
Yeah, Perspective. Brian is really IPA oriented, but is doing great beer. I guess it's its first anniversary right now. I guess it just came out with that beer.
Otherwise than that, for a nice place as well, Robin has a really nice terrace.
In summer,
It's not too far. It's 20-25 minutes.
Well, Waterloo from here, it's close. We're gonna be able to build like some sort of beer road at one point.
Kind of like the Lanaudières and things like that.
Something like that. Montérégie, or I don't know, something.
Yeah,
like that.
I'm sure you guys will figure it out.
Yeah, we'll find a funny name.
Yeah. Who's kind of like the old school brewery in Acton Vale, in the Montérégie, I mean?
Wow, old school. Montérégie goes like quite far. You can go up to, because actually like South Shore of Montreal is Montérégie. Like I was saying, we're really at the far end. So the old school, but you have Benelux. I know Canal is in Montreal, but the new location is in
Bedon will be.
Bedondon, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It would be in Chambly.
Probably one of the older for sure.
For the older, yeah. On top of that, I guess. You have Molson now in Saint-Hubert, which is kind of an old brewery, I think.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a funny region since it's pretty big and covers so many different places.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference between us here and Longueuil.
It's a bit of a. We have a friend who moved out to Chambly, and I've missed it desperately. But with the beer festivals returning, do you see you guys setting up tents at Chambly Beer Festival, Laval Beer Festival de Bière de Laval, and the Mondial? Do you see that being back there this year with things reopening?
It's planned to go back to both Chambly and Laval, and a couple more. I would guess we'll try to more focus on the region here, since I guess our direct customer are around. So probably Waterloo have one in the end of August, I think. September.
Yeah, it's not even October.
No, I guess it's the end of September this year. So they have one day. It's a small festival there. We'll see how Drummondville will do, and we'll try to focus around maybe what's that one, Grand Coulée. It's in Offord.
Yeah,
that could be an option too. We went there once. It was a nice festival. So Mondial, I guess for the metropolitan area, we'll focus on Laval, which is a really nice festival. I know the people well.
Yeah. It's missing. I've been going to Laval ever since it started, and I live in Verdun, so I take the bus and metro because thankfully I can do that and don't drink and drive ever. It's so convenient, It's big and it's open and I can spread
Yeah,
apart.
they have the bus deal as well, bring you to the metro all straight. So yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the beer festivals returning and something as simple as Beau's Oktoberfest, you know, just getting together with friends, meet downtown Montreal, take the bus to Van Cleek,
Drink as much as you can, get back in the bus,
take the bus
sleep.
home, and you have your nice 1 liter Stein to bring home. I've missed festivals a lot more than I ever thought I'd miss them.
You're done for another last one? You want to go
let's do this.
Bourbonade, Lagon?
So we'll start with the Bourbonade, which I've had before, which is
Oh, that's a
I
new
loved.
batch
I
from
loved.
last week.
So even better.
That's one thing too. We can talk. It's Bourbonade's a barrel-aged beer. So we had comments from people. Yeah, it's not the same color. Doesn't exactly taste the same. We decide not to put any millism on it or batch. Or there's obviously a batch number.
Yeah.
But for sure, it's gonna change from batch to batch. It's not the same barrel. It's not the same. There's little stuff changing.
I mean,
this
even
batch is a little bit darker than the previous one.
Yeah.
But I guess the vanilla came out a bit more.
Ooh.
Nose is nice.
Toast. Yeah, the nose is beautiful on this. I remember having it going like, oh my god, this is so tasty. So let's
See that one? The vanilla is a bit more present.
Yeah.
A little bit less lemon on this one. So it's always a bit different, but the thinking behind the beer is still the same. Still like a bourbon lemonade.
Yeah, the bourbon's not like kicking my butt. Like there's a bourbon barrel age I get every year out of Ontario, and you get the coffee, and then it's just bourbon leathery tastiness. So that's
usually like it's a second run. It's always a second run barrel. We use the first for stout, but that will be quite aggressive. We never did it with a first run. That would be probably quite aggressive. We'll have to blend. That would be maybe an option at one point. Still, we have the room. We can probably start a program where we can mix like first, second, and third, and kind of blend all this to try to make it look and exactly the same all the time. On the other hand, it's fun to have like some sort of stuff that changed from one batch to the other.
I mean, I love the variety that you can do. Is you just you add a little more vanilla, or you add a little more of this, or you barrel age it a little longer. It changes the beer, and it's entirely new beer. I mean, I remember it being more lemon forward.
Yeah.
This is a lot more vanilla bourbon forward.
Oh yeah, I guess the barrel from that batch were a little bit. It's not the same bourbon. We usually do it in Avenil, and this one was. I don't remember which one it was, but it was really less boozy, more like on the vanilla from the barrel was really forward. So
yeah, this is beautiful. I mean, it's such a change from what I remember the last one I had, and I did enjoy the last one. It's as you mentioned, you changed it, and I mean, my palate's like I'm so happy right now. So it's great. Now, obviously, you're clearly very busy with everything and things reopening and stuff. But when there's time. A beer vacation you want to take that you've never been on. So if you've never been to Europe or specific parts of Europe, anything
Czech
like
Republic
that.
for me, for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list.
I'm gonna get back there for sure. But no, not back there. I've never been there. I want to just go drink pills for like 2 weeks and get smashed with pills. But I went to Asheville once, and I want to go back there for sure.
North Carolina?
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Okay. It's like a small. I don't know if it's 75,000 people, but I guess close to 30-something brewery. You have the big guy, Sierra Nevada, New Belgium. There's a bunch of, but every corner have a brewery. So I was there for 5 days. I think I not even did half of it. And there's some really, really nice stuff there, and White Lab is there. It's really a brewing.
It sounds a bit like Portland, Oregon.
Kind of.
Also kind
so
of
I want to get back there, and it's like 3-hour flight from Montreal.
Yeah.
So it's for sure something that I want to do. Not even the second. I want to do it often.
I guess what's next? Do you see yourselves opening a tap room, or maybe having a patio or a terrace outside? Like what's next for Bob Magnale?
So we're looking to get a tap room. We have the building here. You didn't see it, but that side is ours too. So it's like an entrepot and our cold room and such. But that way too, it's more space. It's taken now, but it's supposed to slowly, and then the ones renting it should get out. So we should have room for a tap room there. We're working with the city to get that approved, since it's an industrial zoning, so you always need to get that figured out. And also we want a terrace in front here. So our initial plan for this, since it looks like it won't happen in that place for this summer, we might make a tiny tap room here and a bigger terrace outside. And there's some word of they might have to dig a pipe or something, so we'll see exactly how and if it can happen and when. But yeah, we definitely want the tap room, but we'll probably do it step by step. Maybe start with a terrace and a tiny space.
Definitely want to have people drink beer here, so it's really something that I miss from the time I was at Insulaire. I was at Insulaire for the first year as a brewer, and it's really something nice to have people drink your beer there and talking about it. And when sometimes people drink, when you explain what you're supposed to drink, it becomes all clear. I used to work in sales. I was in the audio video industry, and I did a bit of sales there. And when you tell people what you're gonna hear before, have them hear something. Okay, watch. You're gonna have this. You play the part. Okay, yeah, I got everything. But same thing with beer. If you have taste this, you're gonna taste this. They're all gonna get. You explain the whole thing. I miss that part with the client, just to explain the whole thing, explain our philosophy behind it, why we do it this way, and especially with sour beer. In Acton Vale, they're probably the first sour beer they saw. It's us. I remember like the first week or so when I was here, go to the IGA, they had like Rodenbach Grand Cru, like liquidation, $3.99 a bottle or something like that, and I sent him a picture. I said, "Holy crap, I'm gonna have a hard time selling sour beer here."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Yeah, but we'll have to tell them and explain it to people what it is, and for sure you don't start, you build up the thing." But yeah, I miss a tap room, and at least having to talk with people. And actually in Acton, it's what's missing right now. There was one restaurant / bistro pub that caught on fire during winter, which they don't, from what I heard, they won't gonna build back.
Yeah.
So there's like 2 bars, which more or less, one of them sell our beer. The Acton Ales are there. There's, I say, a good answer to it. But it's really something that's missing in demand. People talk to us about, you need to have the place. And probably on long term, when, like Mattias was saying, the other room probably had a restaurant or something, some sort of a food with it. So
I mean, there's so many rules in Quebec when it comes to certain things. I find we just gone to Bodega a couple of weeks ago to interview them, and they're like, we had to buy food and put it on shelves because that's a rule in Quebec. I'm like, that's just silly. You should just be able to buy beer, like sell beer, and maybe nachos and salsa and hot sauces. But like, no, we had to have a certain value of food on shelves, and that sucked because we don't want to like go outside. We want to support Quebec. So it's like, what artisanal kind of pizzeria or this and that can we put in? And that is obviously one of the roadblocks I find in Quebec specifically. Especially like you guys couldn't deliver during the pandemic, where Ontario, the Maritimes, BC, I could order my beer online, and then you get basically an Amazon driver to bring me
exactly,
beer.
and drop. And actually, you order beer from Ontario, and they're gonna deliver it to your door. They don't really care.
Which is a bit silly, since you can do that with SOQ.
Yeah.
It's like hard liquor or whatever.
To me, it sucks because I would love to be able to just do a full day of just order Montérégie beers, and then they show up at my door the next day.
It's something like I had that thinking sometime, and just say, okay, I don't really want to go into that because I don't see myself filling cases of beer just and shipping stuff. It's not like the business. We have a brewery, but on the other end, like you say, if you somewhere from Montreal or I don't know, Abitibi or Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean, and you want to have like, okay, you know what? I want to have stuff from this brewery. I'm going to order a case. Boom. Hey, you know what? It could be really great because one thing that changed quite a lot. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or because for sure there's more and more brewery. The selling of selling beer through the détaillant, through the dépanneur, through the grocery store, it's more and more. It's more and harder. When we started in 2017, okay, we were like smaller batch. We were new guys, so it was easy to sell. It was just like
and we did one beer at a time.
Yeah, we were doing one beer at a time, so it was just like you clack the finger, boom, was sale. Now it's way different. Shelves are filled with beer. There's more and more brewery. The level goes higher and higher. So for sure you can be the top gun in every style, but you can defend yourself, I guess. But it's something that it's really hard to work with. That changed in the last 2 years. So if we could deliver straight to the customer, that would be a good option.
Because I know when the pandemic started, I was very, it's the end of the world, and boutique Cheers there in Montreal, like we deliver. I'm like, sweet. So it's, I haven't had a beer from the, because of maps, and you mentioned them maybe doing a Montérégie thing is, I discovered the Lagon Bleu, I discovered the Canton Vale, I discovered it's...
Cheers was the I guess the pioneer in that delivering beer like that, but now I can pretty much hit every dépanneur that's a bit serious. They have a delivery service right now because of the pandemic. Yeah. They all came out with the online shop, and they sell stuff online. The thing is, might not be all the what they have in store that will be online because for sure it's a bit of an issue when
with all the new beers all the time too.
It's like you have 60 new stuff coming out every week. Okay, maybe it's gonna be like they're gonna have to hire somebody full time just to put them online. But I think the delivery thing from the dépanneur might become something before we can even sell it from the brewery. So maybe focusing on that part, and you know what, it's not mail, but what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big proponent of. I think it'd be a great thing because I know there's like, we'll try the last beer and then we'll mention that. But distribution bouquet, they do their thing, and to me there should be more options where you guys could, like I say, just I saw your van out front when we came in. Is your labels your label's already on the thing on the van, so it's like, okay, well, we could just deliver beers to
we deliver with that
and
actually. We still work with bouquet on all the outside of I would say our reach, but the everything that we can do, it's economic. It's an economic thing as well. If we're a two-man show here as we speak, so we do everything. So
no, and you're clearly very busy. That's why when I always say when you could finally take a beer vacation, because
exactly.
I can't imagine, and I'm guessing maybe you're married or have kids, and it's just that.
And by the time I guess we will be really good in Czech pills, so we might not even have to go there. Just drink ours.
Awesome.
So Lagon Bleu.
Enjoy this last beer. A toast. Thank you, gentlemen.
So Lagon Bleu, it's mixed fermentation. So 100% barrel. It goes from the kettle straight to the barrel for 4 to 6 months, and then get back into stainless for just the adding of the fruit, depending of what we want to do. We have Lagon Bleu. We have Chardonnay, which is Chardonnay. Wine that we had to it, unfermented, for a second fermentation, and then Bigarreau with cherry, black cherry and vanilla. Lagon Bleu is blueberry, passion fruit, and a little bit of lactose just to round up everything.
I'm starting to see the lactose thing happening more and more and more in beers. It's, I mean, I went to, again, before the world shut down, I was in Vermont, and I was at Burlington Beer Company, and I brought a bunch of lactose IPAs back, and the guy who hates IPAs are like, this is one of the best beers I've ever had.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah.
I guess the thing is, and there's a lot of new kids that start drinking beer, and they got into like first the Ipa, and then with the adding of lactose as well. It's you have that taste, that sweet taste when you're born. Yeah. So it just tastes it, and it's sweet, and it works. We used a little bit of lactose just to round up. I'm not a big fan of lactose in any beer. It's, you know what, it's something that you don't really need if you do your work properly, or depending of the orientation you want to have. Obviously, if you want to go over the top, you'll need it. But in this case, it's just to make sure like the perception, the pH of those was really low. I was saying like it's sour for people that drink sour pretty much. But in every one of them, we have we trick. It's a mind trick. We use lactose in this one, but in the Bigarro, it's the vanilla that tricks your mind into sweetness.
So, yeah, this one, it's sour from the start, and then we add passion fruit, which adds to that. So
yeah, so it's another one of that.
It's more complex. There's there's more stuff happening. So
you clearly have a lot of creativity that you're just trying to put in cans and bottles. So.
Oh yeah, there's always a Bob Magnale twist. See, all the cans have the signature of the brewer, which is Bob Magnale. But if you see that signature, there's going to be a twist. There's always we didn't have time to taste the basic stuff, but we'll have later, I guess. But even if it's a wheat beer, it's not a wheat beer. It's a blanche, but it's a blend of Belgian and German. There's always something. There's always a twist where we like to play with it. Just we throw a curveball in pretty much every style we do. So,
and all fantastic. I mean, every brewery I've spoken with, every brewery in Quebec and Ontario, you guys all make great beers, and just the difference. There's just subtle differences from each place, but it's subtle enough for me to want to go back and buy another beer or bring back a 4-pack or something.
But we're all doing beer at the point, so that it's always going to be like a small thing. See, Pils Czech, we all do Pils. There's a lot of brewery that doing Pils Czech that to start with, they're supposed to be like this, and then we just everybody brings his little thing. So we end up having like maybe 10 beer that not exactly the same, but you have really the inspiration is really there. So everybody can bring his twist, his own twist of it.
Guys, fantastic talk today. I really appreciate you both taking time in your schedule to speak with us about your brewery and your fantastic beers. So just let everybody know where they can find you in person and online.
We're pretty much accessible in every region through at least DBSQ. And dépanneur, if we're not there, talk to your dépanneur and ask us. You can always reach us through our Facebook pages, websites on the way. If you want to see us in person, we're in Acton Vale. Boutique is open from 3 to 7 on Thursday, Friday, Saturday from noon to 5.
It's a two-man show, so it's going to be either of us most of the times at the boutique.
Yeah, exactly. So summertime for summer 2022, we expect have tasting room. So follow us on Facebook, and you'll have the update on that. But definitely, we're going to serve you beer this summer.
Awesome. So all that's going to be in the show notes. As I said, check Facebook for the hours if you're in the region. As for the show, it's allbeerinside.com is the website, at allbeerinside on all social media. And as I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap.